just bringing damnation upon the world, not me, once again. I had a video I put up there. You know the one. I talking to Jordan, and there's this young person. She's talking. She's arranging all the videos. She's slicing them in and out. She did that herself. All I did was take what she had done and simply saw a video of it, and I made some introduction at the beginning of it, put hers in, and then me. So I provided an introduction, she did all the rest, and I provided a thing, and she did what she did, and she introduced other people on the side there. So, hey, Jude. That's the book before Revelation. Book before Revelation. Don't bring me down. Oh, just take a sad soul and make it better. Just remember to give and live, and then we will be just a little better. Hey, Jude. The book before Revelation. Just break it down. Take a sad song and make it. And don't forget about Paul McCartney. Be. What is it? Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. Just let it be. Means don't touch it. Let it be. In your words of wisdom, oh, just let it be. It means don't interfere. Let it be when the darkness coming and since the man comes to me. In the words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. Just let it be an existing being, as in the being Heidegger. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. Just let it be. In your words of wisdom, just let it be. So let's build a code and call it a charter, and let's just dictate every little thing that has to have to do with me. And if it doesn't read every little letter, then let's just deny it. Let's just deny it because we couldn't just let it be. That's the beauty of this thing, this document, which had to be printed, people. Because if the Federalist Papers are numbered and printed, and they're arguing about the Constitution, we read them in printed form, then why isn't there a printed form of the Constitution that matches? Obviously, something's out of sync here. Even the few all who quote Federalist this, Federalist that, they're all typed. I've never seen a representation of them that is in cursive writing. Why is in longhand cursive? Is it because it's cursing? I don't know. Look at the thing in and of itself, that it's integrity, meaning it stands and has meaning in and of itself. The minute you stray out of a sentence, then you have a word. It's in a sentence. It has to have meaning within the sentence, and the sentence has to have meaning within a paragraph. None of that requires an outside source. I mean, don't the words have a meaning when they stand by themselves? And we can't put words in any order we want, even for one sentence. And so we don't need a constitution. It just gets a little constrained now. Shouldn't something be as important as called the supreme law of the land? Supreme law of the land. You can't use a statute to interpret the supreme law of the land. I find it specious to use cases from when? How far forward? from the date of the document itself, are supposed to give meaning to the document when the document is the source. Do you need Blackstone's book with the time to write the draft of this Constitution in summer 1787? No. Were there any statutes, laws of men to regulate your daily life? Oh yeah, there are plenty of those in each of the 13 areas. So were all those abrogated? Abrogated. Of course they had to be, didn't they? Automatically. Had to be abrogate. The Constitution of the United States, or whatever you want to call it, had to at least abrogate all the laws, statutes, and little crazy things, and little local rules and this and that, and we navigate here, and money coins. Didn't it have to at least abrogate them? They're null and void. So that each of the 13 areas would have to say, okay, well, don't we at least have to, in all places, all 13 places, simply say, as they did in Virginia, we must take all that we have and rewrite them to make them conform to the terms of the document that covers all 13, don't they? You can't make a new document, can you, and say this has some authority over all 13 without all 13 having to make their writings on papers in conformity. So at least it has to have demanded that, well, this establishes federalism. So that means you have to have executive, legislative, and judicial, 3 authorities at the federal level, which exists through the Constitution. And to have federal, the only thing you have to have in the state is the 3 authorities existing as one person, governor of 13 areas, I guess, or one key person that would exercise executive, legislative, and judicial. I guess, in fact, that's all you'd have to have for an individual component, one of the 13. So federalism must mean that federal, those things debated in the House and debated in the Senate and sent as a conforming document, one document, to George Washington for him to either sign or not sign. Do you think they sent long page things? No. Do you think it'd be easy to gossip and people talk about each one even? Yeah. Sure. Look how complex it is now. And nobody wants to even consider that members of the House and members of the Senate, I've said many, many times over and over, I don't even know what's in this thing we're voting on, but we just trust what? One person, 2 men? No, they're 2 men. Not a member of the Senate or House has ever read the entirety of anything at all. So you just deferred it to staff people a long time ago. You don't know what's in there. And you want to pretend that you're doing it all. Why don't you just be honest and say, yeah, these things are too long and too complex. I couldn't even read. Why does it take thousands? I'll never remember one time Ronald Reagan, he brought in and had sitting on the dais of the House these giant stacks of paper. I guess they were one big bill on all those pieces of paper. One law, I guess. Had it sitting there his entire time. I guess that pile of papers is one bill or one law. Probably that one big stack is quote unquote the federal budget. Federal budget. Yes. By their own admissions. The members of the House and Senate have said over and over and over and over and over and over that we do not know what it says in the text ourselves. And if that's the case, then how can the statutes even be valid? Even the president signs it later. He can't know what's in it either, does he? So it's all on autopilot. Maybe it's just a big printer running all the time. I don't know. But yet we pretend that anything I've just said can't possibly be considered by a court. Oh, God, no, because 9 justices couldn't just simply observe the facts like that and say the complexity of the document itself is so complex that not a single member of the House or Senate can know what it says, and neither could the president. So we must admit that we don't know what's behind, so we can at least say anything in the U.S. Code limited to just the book in the U.S. Code. Oh, no, because it's a Federal Register, and that has meaning and stuff. And so even the judges themselves, whether doesn't matter. That's so simple. Yeah, do a little thing. Why don't you judges just have a little demonstration workshop that you can take something and have a set of U.S. Code and Federal Register, what's necessary, and the Code of Military Justice. Hey, whatever those books are that you need. And just do a lesson yourselves and show people how to go through it or do something. That would be really practical. It might go a long way to boosting confidence, even in the court. People in the countryside have no confidence and never have in members of the House or Senate, and either the individual person president either. The best we've ever been able to do is that, well, we just hope that they, I don't know, can just keep the food prices down, keep the gas prices down. Well, just hope they can keep the killing down and the wars down and all that down, keep the taxes down, just keep things down in general. Expenses down, collections down, just keep everything down, I guess. Keep the budget less. Less is always better. Yeah, but fewer ships, the big ship, fewer all that, everything. Well, resources, fewer cars and things, and when just less in general is better, I guess. And I don't know, and that only goes so far, and then you gotta get a better road, and who do you want to manage the roads, and it's the federal roads and federal everything. Oh, it's upside down and one side up, upside down, downhill the other, because you want local control to spend the money, but then you don't want local people dictating your detail, and that's too much, and that. So in the end, the best place for everything is simply with the federal government itself and state governments simply having one person to be the executive, legislative, and judicial authority in one state. And then a federal law that says, okay, well, in this state, this is what the judicial authority is. And it's federal, not state courts, not county courts. You can't federate the judicial authority, folks, because you federate justice. If you federate justice, then there's no justice. And if there's no justice, well, then there's not truth, because it would be meaningless to have witnesses come and have voir dire and all these things, because we all know that a jury of your peers means some 12 or 6 people can watch with their eyes a person sitting in the jury box. So to ask questions, the juror says, oh, look at that. They're moving their head. They are. So it would be really ridiculous for somebody to say, well, you must put a blind person on a jury too, right? No, the blind person can't see and judge the facial expressions. So that would be an absurdity, wouldn't it? Oh, well, blind people and deaf people have to be on juries too. No. The lame, no. No, they can't make an individual determination of losing their own eyes and watching the question going on and their own ears. And that also means that you can't have courts like the New York, all during COVID, where a judge sits and interviews somebody and says that's courts and justices because they don't know who the person is either. And why are they still doing that even today here and that? And that's not justice. And without justice, there's no need for truth because there's nothing to adjudicate, not even truth. There is not, and if the justice is federated, and there's no need for habeas corpus either, because you're never going to produce a body anyway. At least a body means putting somebody and set them in the courtroom so a jury can assess them. So if there's no federated justice, and you insist on local courts, county courts, state courts, and all this triple federated, all that, and then there's justice. Without justice, truth is not necessary, because the truth is not a subject. Truth is never a aspect of a case in controversy. And then if there's no truth, well, then there can't be liberty to do anything, liberty to step here, liberty to go there, liberty to do it. So there's no liberty. And in their end, there's no freedom. So you gotta have justice. Without justice, you can't have truth. If you gotta have justice, and you gotta have truth, then you need both of those to have liberty, at least. Liberty to move. Where they say, we're going on liberty. We're in the military. Liberty means liberty to leave the ship and go shopping and have sex. Liberty. And then justice, you gotta have that at the top. Firm. That's not all entangled with layers and county, city, local, and all that. That's okay. And all that has to come from the nine, period. As they really could decide best how to do it in them themselves and just follow what they say and set it up, please. And let's then eliminate all judicial authority except authority flowing directly from the nine down. No state, county, or any stop in between. And then you fuck it up. Because if you don't have that, that's the key to federalism, even. Just the justices. And you're frustrated automatically to allow a building to say a high court of just one state. Now it's so complex already that you can't even have it. So justice must be there first. And then truth would be necessary. So then you have to have a system for truth. Truth only as it applies to the activities related to producing papers and written papers and oral information presented, spoken, in front of an actual judge. Procedures for that. Papers, they're written and things, and people who speak. That's it. I'm not talking expert qualified witness in the town. No. That's way too complicated already. A judge himself can just, or her can just listen to all that. Why do we have to stilt this all out and the pre-docket and the docket and the pre and the pre and the how? That's already, then that's just corruption. And so then just truth for those simple things. They're done open, please. So people just free to come and sit and listen and watch and sort of see it from pretty well, beginning to end without too much fanfare. a parade of guns and people in uniforms and X-Men, this corner gappers, sirens, flashing TV and all that. That's just horrifying. That's not necessary. It's not necessary to have a television monitor to make a presentation to people sitting in the jury. That's just to make a big show for television. That's really ridiculous. I guess why does the Supreme Court just observe all these paid cameras inside state courts is inherently volatile of justice and that frustrates truth-seeking, period. Therefore, there's not justice. You just say, boom, no profit making from that. They say their court should have people in it. Well, if their court they don't have people in them, and they only hear or aren't, then they really have created a situation where they'll never get a case then. So then why can't it? But in the state courts, it's a circus maximum. So anyway, justice got to be established first. Before you think about anything, what is just for justice? What is just for justice? What is just for justice? Where is just for justice? When is just for justice? How is just for justice? Get that all worked out. Just that word, that's it. Forget any amendments. Just do that. You don't need any of them to do that. You do that. And then now you got that. Write some ideas down while you're doing figuring out you're going to do that. Okay, this is we got just up by 4, Justin. Okay, that's simple. Book 1, general. Just for justice. What for justice? What by justice? What of justice? Where of justice? Where by justice? Where for justice? When for justice? When of justice? When by justice? How of justice? How for justice? By for justice. No, write that one down. No, why? Then you got the book of book. Justice. Book justice. Of by for. Being just. What, where, when, how. Of by for. What? Of by for justice. Where? Of by for justice. When? Of by for justice. How? Of by for justice. And just read the preamble to the end of whatever article it is. Forget about any other document whatsoever. And if the 9 people sitting on the high court can't write that book themselves, make it very plain and simple, and just publish it, sue qua non by their own authority and say, here's the book of justice, and we've agreed on it, and sign your name and have a thing and talk about it and teach it. Then we don't need about the book that says truth on the top of it. Because that book can only be written to make that book about justice get a little juicier. And then the next book would be liberty, and the last book would be freedom, and please work through book 1, book 2, book 3, and just stop and don't write book 4. And then let we, the people, look at the book 1, book 2, book 3 as a set when you get it done by yourselves. And then when you want to write the book of freedom, or book of by and for freedom, then I think you need to turn that over to the we the people somehow. And we'll take those first 3 books And we'll really understand them. We'll say, okay, now all of that. Now, us, we the people, we need to think about what freedom means to us as a group of people. And we need to provide some information as we work through all that. And then we'll tell you if we, the people, think that these 3 books has room for freedom for us, since we're the ones who actually have to be free, and we're the ones who have to exercise and have liberty, our liberties, and ultimately we're the ones who are harmed if things go wrong, and so we can double check and say, well, this truth things is fine, but you know what? I'm just not sure about how well, and then work up and say, well, we work back up toward that, and then it's like, well, okay, and then the freedom, okay, we're back to justice. Here's all of our written stuff about we the people from freedom back up. So here it is, 9 people. Just please demonstrate that you just didn't overrule everything. You can make some changes. Starting with liberty, truth, and justice. You can't edit our freedom ideas. Then we're not free. I think this little rubric works pretty good. I've been using this what, where, when, and how thing of by and for quite some time. It works really well. Down and up, like I just said. I'm not a genius. It's just trying to be functional and have a consistent thing. Yeah. Of, by, and for. What, where, when, how. Why? I don't need an opinion from anybody, please. You can do this right from where we're at, through whoever we is. With trading and things and going here and there, it's really difficult to constrain and have all this. This is just with a, now this little chord is just for now, just just for mere. No. For me to say mere mortals. Oh, what a slam. Mere Christianity is a book by a philosopher. Oh, mere. What a castigating insult to say mere. Okay, 27 minutes. Ronnie-Ward from Brooklyn. No, Ronnie-Ward, Brooklyn, Kings County, America, because I just will not suffer through the constraints of the weirs. I just say America. I'm not advocating or saying that things don't exist. I've lived for a piece of my own mind. I just go from Brooklyn, County Kings, America. That is just a way of saying nothing at all. I'm not saying anything that has any meaning to me or anybody else. I'm not a guiding light, and I don't affect how the world turns. If I go to a hospital, I sure don't want it to be a general hospital. If I'm not feeling well and I'm feeling sick or I'm feeling passionate or whatever, I sure would like to be young and very restless. And for God's sakes, whatever you do, don't ever have a way where it just is like the wicked witch of the east, and here's the sands which tips the big hours, and like sand through the hourglass. 1 grain at a time, so are the days of our lives. Don't be bold. Don't be beautiful, but bold and beautiful. Do you speak soap opera-ish? 29 minutes, 20 seconds.